I didn't exactly understand that either. The foot washing. Why would he wash my feet? But he washes our feet. We sang a couple songs, and then we went out to the Gethsemane. There's a garden out there that he loved to go in. Every single time we came to this place, to John Mark's house or to Jerusalem, we always went there for prayer. Hour after hour, he could pray in that garden. It's a beautiful spot. I remember I was over there by the trees, and Jesus was a little distance over there, and I saw him praying, and he told us we're supposed to watch and be vigilant and pray with him. But oh man, that lamb and that Passover meal, it just was so good. And he prays for hours and hours, and I was getting sort of bored, and before I knew it, I was sound asleep. I mean, I was out. And I heard the other guys snoring on my way down, so I know they were tired too. And all of a sudden, boom, I hear some noise, and we all kind of looked, and here's a mob. I bet there's 300 guys walking around with clubs and with swords and with lanterns, and they all kind of circled around us. And I thought, okay, the fight is on. Come on, guys. And Jesus said, who do you come to seek? And they said, we seek Jesus. And he said, I am he. And they all just laid down on the ground. I thought, wow, that was cool. And they started standing back up, and Jesus said, who do you seek? And he said, Jesus. And just then, Judas came and kissed him right on the cheek, and they grabbed hold of him. And as they were doing it, Peter, who had the only one of the two swords that we had, Peter grabs a sword and he slices a guy's ear off. And Jesus stopped him. No, I'll go just a minute. And he grabs hold of the ear and he put it back on the man and healed him just like that. And they let him off. They let him off. No fight, no struggle. I thought, what are we going to do? They took him, we're next. And I turned to see what Barnabas was going to do, and he's gone. And so I just followed him. We ended up at John Mark's house. 10 of us. Well, Judas wasn't there, Peter wasn't there, and John wasn't there. There's 9 of us in the house. Some of the women are there. Some of the other disciples are there. What are we going to do? Who took Jesus? I know the Sadducees did. I know the Pharisees did. What are they going to do with them? Peter's gone. I wonder where he went. So is John. Took a long time. We just sat around. I was scared. If they took Jesus, we're next. I mean, 5 days ago, everybody was, oh, hail, Hosanna in the highest. Whoa. Now where are those people? Where's that crowd? It was about daybreak, and Peter comes in. Peter, what happened? Where's Jesus? Peter said, it wasn't going so bad. I listened to the trial from afar, but I could hear what was going on. They kept saying this thing and that thing, and all the witnesses were getting their stories mixed up. It looked like he was going to get off. And then somebody asked him point blankly, are you the Son of God? And Jesus said he was. I thought, no. And as soon as he said it, they started yelling and screaming, tearing their cloaks, throwing dust in the air. Some guy went up to him, pulled off part of his beard, and punched him in the face. They're yelling and screaming at him, and it was chaos. So I left. Peter said, I know he's going to Pilate. They're going to crucify him. It was unanimous. So I came back. I know he's going to Pilate's. It's just a matter of time. So I asked Peter, is that all that happened? I mean, nobody came to his defense. I saw Peter's head go down. No, that isn't all that happened. Remember what he said? Remember he said that, we would all run away? And I said I wouldn't, but he said, yes, you will. In fact, you're going to deny me 3 times even knowing me before the rooster crows. Oh, never, Lord. You remember that, Thomas? Yeah, I remember that. I was the one who said, I wouldn't. Well, it happened, Thomas, just like he said. 3 times. The last time was a little girl. I yelled and screamed and swore. I said, I don't even know the man. And as soon as I did, the rooster crowed. And I just happened to look. And he looked, I mean, during the middle of the trial, he turns, and you know how his eyes just look right through you at those times? I saw those eyes, those piercing eyes. They weren't angry, they were filled with compassion for me. And I bowed my head, I started crying like a little baby, and I just ran. I ran, and I didn't stop running until I came here. Thomas, I don't know what we're going to do. They took Jesus. Well, let's go see what happens. And so me and Peter and John and a couple of the others, we kind of snuck in the back way, and there was a great crowd by Pilate's place. And there was this stage. And Pilate let off 4 men. 2 men were convicted of stealing, and one guy was a murderer, Barabbas, and then Jesus. And we're all looking. I mean, there must have been a couple thousand people pressing to see what was going to happen. And Pilate said, "Look at the man." And then I got a good glimpse. Oh my gosh. Oh, the Romans whipped his back. It was open from his neck down by his legs. Blood was just oozing out of him, plus the crown of thorns. He had blood through his brow and his ears and his eyes, his face. He was all swelled up from being beaten. I thought, oh, that's Jesus. Pilate said, "I'll tell you what, I will release one of these 2 men." Didn't even give the thieves a chance. They said, I'll release one of these 2 men for you. That's what kind of guy I am. Do you want us to release Jesus or Barabbas? Well, it was a great crowd there, and I thought, that's easy, right? A democratic vote, he's going to allow the people to free Jesus. And so I said, Jesus. But it was kind of alone, and all of a sudden I heard everybody yell, Barabbas! Free Barabbas! And I thought, no, Jesus. No, Barabbas! Free Barabbas! And I thought, you guys, just 5 days ago, you guys were throwing your cloaks and your palm branches and yelling Hosanna, and now you're saying Barabbas, free Barabbas, and what are you going to do with Jesus? And Pilate said, if I free Barabbas, what do you want me to do with Jesus? And just like in unison, like a darkness came over in one vile voice, and he said, crucify him! Why, what has he done? Pilate said. Crucify him! His blood be on our heads and on our children's heads. So Pilate said, as you wish. Bring him to Golgotha and crucify him. Jesus could barely walk. He was so beaten up, but I saw him, and they put that cross, and he took that cross on his shoulder, and he started heading towards Golgotha with the 2 thieves. He got a ways, but he was, I don't even know how he got that far. And then he fell. And I was afraid he was going to die right there. That he was just going to pass out and die. He didn't have the strength to go on. Romans thought that too, apparently. And so they picked up the cross and they grabbed some guy named Simon and made him take it the rest of the way. And I'm thinking, Jesus, make your move. I saw you that day in Capernaum when they were going to throw you off a cliff and you just sort of went through the crowd and disappeared. Do that. Save yourself. Come on, Jesus. Don't go to Golgotha. Don't be crucified. Show them who you are. You're God. But he didn't. He just kept going. I thought, heal yourself. I've seen you raise people from the dead. I've seen you cast out demons and heal the blind. People lame from birth, they just started running when you touched them. Jesus, heal yourself. But he just kept climbing towards Golgotha. What's the matter with him? What is the matter with that guy? And I watched him once they got to the top. I saw him spread his arms out. I saw the nails go in each hand and his feet. I saw when they lifted that cross up and put it down in the ground, and I saw that there was a little sign up on top of it. Behold, the King of the Jews. And I know that the Pharisees, they told Pilate not to write that, to say he said he was the King of the Jews, and Pilate said, but I wrote that he is the King of the Jews. And now it's noon. It's hot. sun straight up, and Jesus is on the cross. Come on, get down. Show them you're God. They can't kill God. I believed that you were God. I believed you were God. You had me convinced. I told my parents, drop what you're doing and come follow this man. He's amazing. He's a great teacher. I left my business to follow you for 3 years. Jesus, I believed your words. I believed everything you said. I was in the boat when they woke you up. I thought we were going to drown that night. And you just stood up there and you put your hand and said, peace, be still. I mean, in a second, the waves stopped beating on the boat. The wind stopped. The clouds went away. And it was just a beautiful day. Jesus, you're in charge of nature itself. Do something. Don't let these people manage you like that. Just stayed on the cross. Minute after minute. 12 o'clock. 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock. He's saying something. He's saying something. Go ahead. Call down fire. Come on, like Elijah. Call it down. Show those guys who you are. Mean something right now. I believe in you. I believe in you. You know what he said? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Father, forgive them. They just beat you to a pulp. They crucified you. Father, forgive them. I don't get it. I don't get them anymore. The last thing I heard him say was, my God, why have you forsaken me? And I saw his head. I saw his head go down. I saw his body go limp on a cross. There was no more life in him. And then I saw the Roman guards. They went to the thief on the one side and broke his legs, and on the other side they broke his legs so they would hasten their death. But he took his spear and he saw that Jesus was dead already, but he thought he would just thrust that spear up into his side and through his heart and pull it back down again. He never flinched. He was dead. Water and blood poured out of his body. It emptied it. I can't believe it. It was dark. It was cloudy. There was a little bit of an earthquake. One of the Roman soldiers said that truly this must be God's Son. Look at all the things that are happening. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. What do you mean God's Son? That's what I thought he was. At one time I thought that's what he was. At one time I thought his words meant something. I don't anymore. How can his words be true? Didn't he say, he promised me that we would have joy if we would abide in him, that he would abide in us, and that our joy would be full. I don't feel joy today when I saw what I saw, when he did what he did or didn't do. He said abundant life, rivers like abundant life, rivers would flow. I don't see that river of life flowing from him today. You know what? Jesus is a liar. Jesus is a liar. There's no joy. There's no life. How could you kill God? How could anyone kill God? He must have just been a man. I mean, he said a lot of good things, I grant you that. And he had a lot of neat miracles, but so did Elijah and Moses and Isaiah, and lots of other men had miracles that they did too. Maybe that's what he was, a good prophet. But I don't know. I don't think he was the Son of God. I think he's a liar. His blood poured out just like any other man. He died on the cross like any other man. He was buried in the tomb like we bury everybody else. He's not God. I do remember one of the things he said just last week on our way to Jerusalem. We had a little bit of an argument, and he tried to stop the argument, but then he told us, he said, the Son of Man is going to be delivered over to the hands of sinners and be crucified, and on the third day be raised again. Now, I understand what getting whipped and getting scourged. I know what that means. I've seen people be crucified before, but what did raised again? What is raising from the dead? What is raised from the dead? So I asked Peter, what is raising from the dead? What did he mean when he said that? He said, I don't know. But he kind of rebuked me last time, and so I don't want to ask him. Well, how about you, John? Did you ask him what is being raised from the dead? I mean, what did he I don't know either, but I heard what he said to Peter about getting behind me, so I don't want to ask him either. He'll tell us eventually. It'll be clear what being raised from the dead means. That was Friday. He just died. Friday night, we were all huddled together. There's a lot of us in that upper room, John Mark's house. Some of us were crying. Some of us were just depressed. We didn't know what we did. We gave our money. We gave our time and our talents. We thought this was the ministry. This was the man who was going to lead us and all Israel into its glory days once again. We were going to become a nation again. We were going to be bound by God. He would be our deliverer and our helper, our strength. We were going to be feared. Even by the Roman Empire, we would be feared. That's who he was supposed to be. Son of David, King of Kings. He's just a dead man in a tomb now. That was Friday night. Saturday wasn't much better. Nothing happened. We knew it was a holy day at least, and so we were pretty sure they weren't going to come and get us on Saturday. Not so sure about the rest of the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, what was going to happen. Saturday night, we all just fell asleep. Nobody could eat. Everybody was upset. Sunday morning, it was early. I mean, I don't think the sun was up yet, and I could hear some rustling going on. And I saw Mary and Elizabeth and Mary Magdalene and a couple others. I said, "Where are you guys going?" Well, we have to wrap Jesus a little better. Nicodemus and Joseph didn't do a very good job, so we want to do it properly. I thought it was good enough. No, we're going to do it right, and whatever. And I fell back asleep, and off they went. A couple hours later, I'm up making some breakfast, and they come running in and going, hey, he is risen. Jesus is risen. I said, how could he have been raised? Did you see him? Well, no, we didn't see him. Well, what happened when he got to the tomb? The stone was rolled away, and when we looked inside, there was an angel in the tomb. Not Jesus, there's an angel. Yeah, an angel was in the tomb. And what did he say? He said Jesus was alive, that he rose from the dead, just like he said. And I was supposed to tell you that. So I told you that. It was an angel. Jesus himself wouldn't even tell you that he rose from the dead. You didn't see Jesus. No, but Mary Magdalene, she said she saw him. Oh, Mary, what did you see there? And so Mary tells us that as she was leaving, she was the last to leave, that she saw what she thought was the gardener. The gardener. And I wondered what the gardener had done with his body. And he says, Mary, and as soon as I heard him say my name, Mary said, I knew it was Jesus. And then I looked up and I could see his eyes. The compassion in his eyes. His face did look different. I mean, his beard wasn't pulled out. There was no blood. There was no scabs. There was nothing. I mean, it looked beautiful. But when he spoke, it was his voice, and his eyes were his eyes. It was Jesus. So you thought it was the gardener, but it wasn't. It didn't look like Jesus, but you say it is. And you're trying to tell me he rose from the dead. Is that the story you're supposed to believe? Yeah. Right. I went back to making breakfast. But Peter and John thought they would at least check the story out. And so they left. By the time they got back, I asked Peter what happened. He said, well, the tomb is empty, and I saw the cloth. His head covering was in one place, and his body that was wrapped was over there, and it was empty. I thought, well, why would they unwrap the body? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. Well, did you see him? No. How about an angel? Did you at least see an angel, Peter? No. How about you, John? No, but I believe that he rose from the dead. Why is that? Why is that? Why do you think he rose from the dead? Well, the tomb was empty. So what? Something else might have happened. I think he rose from the dead. John, he kind of believes everything, you know. I gotta go. I gotta go get groceries. It's my turn to cook. So we gotta take a few guys and we had to go down to the market in secret. We're kind of worried, you know. We don't want to get caught. We still might get arrested like Jesus. And so I went to the marketplace and I had to get enough food for a few days for all of us. And by the time I got back, do you know what they all said? Thomas, we saw Jesus. Right. What do you mean you saw him? Well, it didn't look like him, but it was him. Well, I mean, what if you saw him walking across the street or what? No, we were just all sitting here wondering what we should do, you know, and then he was just here in the middle of all of us. Right in the middle of the living room. Just appeared. Right. And then what? Well, he just said, peace be to you. Yeah, I mean, like, what happened? Well, he ate some fish and some bread and we talked a little bit. And was he in a hurry to leave? I mean, how come he's not here? How come he didn't want to wait for me? I was one of his apostles. I was one of his closest friends. Where is he? Well, we don't really know where he went. He just disappeared. Right. I'm not going to believe anything you guys have to say. I don't trust what you have to say. I think you've been fooled by somebody else. Somebody who came around, some slickster came around and tried to tell you that. Well, what about the nails? I don't know. I'll tell you what. I am not going to believe that Jesus Christ is alive until I see the nail print in his hand and I can put my finger in it and I can see where the Roman guard took that spear and thrust it up into his heart and his chest. And if I put my hand in that, then I'll believe that that is Jesus Christ. He didn't show up Sunday. He didn't show up Monday. Didn't show up Tuesday. And the longer it took, the more I didn't believe anything they tried to tell me. I mean, they tried to convince me. Well, if he was there for Mary Magdalene, he was there Sunday afternoon, why couldn't he have shown up Monday or Tuesday for me? You ever been in one of those situations where you're asking Jesus for something and it doesn't seem like he's anywhere to be seen? Well, everybody else has experienced him. What about Thomas? Couldn't he love Thomas? I did so much stuff for him. I remember help pass out the fish and the bread. I went preaching for him with the 70 other people. We went preaching in different communities, different villages. I mean, whatever he asked me to do, I did it for him. So where is he? Doesn't he answer prayer? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 8 days went by. 8 days went by, and it's my turn to cook again. There's probably 40, 50 people in the building. And I was back here making something with some vegetables. And I could hear people chattering and talking, having conversation. And all of a sudden, nothing. I just heard silence. And you know how you don't see it, but you feel it, and the hair in the back of your neck kind of stands up, like there's something, but you're not sure? That's exactly how I felt. I got little goosebumps, and I turned around, and I kid you not, there was a man standing right in front of me. And the moment I saw him, I knew it was Jesus. The moment I saw him, his eyes looked at me, I saw the nail prints in his hands, and I fell down. I was so ashamed of myself for not believing in him. I didn't understand what rising from the dead meant. I didn't understand what the blood on the cross meant. I didn't understand the sacrifice, Lord. I didn't understand. He said, peace be with you, Thomas. Reach here your finger and see my hands, and reach here your hand and put it in my side. And don't be unbelieving, but be believing. And I said, my Lord and my God. And Jesus said something to me, but he meant it for you. He said, because you have seen me, Thomas, now you believe. Blessed are those who do not see me and yet believe. He's alive. He's alive. Jesus is alive, and I want to preach it every day of my life. I want to live it every day of my life. The joy did come back in. The abundant life did start to flow. And His word is true. And I will die with that word. I will die in His praise. And I will one day see Him again, face to face, in all His glory.